I will expose the corruption in Sacramento and hold these I will expose the corruption in Sacramento and hold these crooks accountable. I'm a businessman, a farmer, and an unapologetic fighter for California, and that's why I'm dangerous to them. We the people must take back control of our lives, our freedoms, our government.
Fight, fight, fight! We can turn California red again.
With action, with a movement.
We are just getting started.
I will expose the corruption in Sacramento.
I think that was my mistake. I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear anything either. So let's undo.
All right, folks, you certainly know what that theme song means by now. That's right. It's time for another episode of America Matters. I'm your host, Leo Zacky, with Eddie Floyd, and we got Grand Baron Mingus there in the studio, making it happen in the booth today. So glad that you guys can join us. It is Monday, March 24th. Welcome, everybody, especially everybody listening out there on 93.7 KPGF, as well as AM 1060. All the folks out there watching on AUN television or any one of our streaming platforms. And also a big thank you and a welcome to everybody listening on the Salem Network, the Answer Network, the Kevin Jackson Network, and of course, Radio for America. Thank you so much, and welcome to America Matters. Eddie, what's going on, brother?
Comments for you that came overnight in the way of faxes at the ranch. And so I'll start off with something that we talked about last month. You'll remember the case we covered last month, the shocking and violent death of California Fire Captain Rebecca Marody, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, she. We all knew it. At the time, it wasn't just a tragedy; it was a mystery.
right.
The firefighter captain brutally stabbed in her own home in Ramona, California, and her wife Yolanda I'm going to butcher this. Olnieznik Marody is missing. So let's give you the breakdown of the timeline of what's all been going on. So the evening of February 17th, 2025, that is when law enforcement responded to a call at the Marody residence. Inside, they discovered 49-year-old Rebecca Marody dead from multiple stab wounds.
Wow.
All right, this, by the way, wasn't Yolanda's first violent encounter with a spouse. So back in 2000, she was convicted of voluntary manslaughter for stabbing her then husband to death in Washington state, and she served nearly 10 years in prison before her release. So then fast forward now to March 22nd, this is just 2 days ago, Yolanda Marody was arrested in a hotel in Mexicali, Mexico. She was alone, quiet, and cooperative. Her arrest was the result of a cooperation between U.S. and Mexican authorities, including the San Diego County Sheriff Department, U.S. Marshal Service, and Mexican law enforcement.
Wow. Seems to be working together a lot better than it ever did during the Biden administration.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. A little bit of cooperation, a little transnational policing. It's a good start. That's a good start. I wish we could get them to cooperate with, I don't know, terrorist organizations as they're now labeled, which is so great, known as the drug cartels. That would be cool. I'd really love to see some cooperation on that. But yeah, I mean, the good news is they've got primary suspect number one arrested. If I'm a betting man myself, and if I had to put my money on who I think done did it, it was probably Yolanda.
Uh-huh.
But we will see. That's why we have a court system. Even the judicial system here is quite effed in the A. But we will see it in operation here with this case and see what they can make happen.
Right.
So, well, this is good news. People can, I guess, rest a little bit easier, but we'll learn more as the story develops. So
Absolutely.
we're going to give everybody an update on that.
Absolutely. I tell you what, our new Secret Service and FBI agent, okay, he has said this morning in a news conference that 3 of the top 10 most wanted in America have been arrested by him.
And since Trump's taken office?
Yes. Since Trump's taken office, 3 of the top 10 have been arrested.
Wow. Talk about government efficiency.
Amen.
I mean, look, I still hate the FBI and the CIA, and I think we should actually just do away with them completely.
Right.
I mean, look, the FBI originally was designed to help solve big interstate cases, whether it be murder or kidnapping or drug trafficking. That's what originally it was in place for, but it's what becomes so bloated, full of bureaucracy and the way they abuse power, which is why I believe they should be done away with instead of just reformed. It's really kind of hard to reform something that's that broken. And the CIA is a derivative of the OSS, which started Office of Secret Services, which came up during the Second World War, where we were collaborating with the English and the French and to do subverse things around the world. And now it's been really abused. I mean, look, the CIA was the ones that were helping traffic drugs, still helping traffic drugs into this country. Let's be honest with ourselves. They helped bring drugs into this country. With Vietnam, they brought opium and stuff like that back. And they were hiding it in the caskets of the fallen American soldiers there in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
They were helping traffic drugs from the South American drug cartels into the United States. They've been helping. No doubt in my mind, they're helping the Mexican cartels too. There's a lot of problems. I don't know how you reform that. And as much as I know, we have to be somewhat pragmatic here. When we know these things to be true, and the fact that it's not being done, I want things to be done. Maybe I'm just this generation where I'm expecting more immediate results, and I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of 4-dimensional chess game being played, but I really don't believe that concept. And I'm still waiting for the no tax on tips. So
Right.
and of course the Epstein client list. Which, look, Donald Trump's probably going to be on it, and that's okay. I just want to know.
Yep.
Doesn't mean I'm okay with whatever happened, but I want to know.
Yeah.
So,
We've been promised.
yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Amen. Well, I tell you what, Leo, I know you'll be taking us to break, but you did receive a wonderful text last night in the middle of the night. It was about 2:35 in the morning, and it was your good friend Sarah in Sacramento who said, "Stop calling him gubernatorial candidate. He is our next governor." And I thought,
That's awfully kind. I appreciate that.
yeah, you
Who said
better.
that?
Sarah.
Oh, Sarah. Love you,
Sarah.
Sarah. Good
Yeah.
angel.
Yep.
I'm sorry I didn't get to see you again when I was in Sacramento, but we will figure this out at some point. But anyways, if you want to get more information about me and my candidacy, please go to my website, leozacky.com. Also, follow me on the socials at Leo S. Zacky. Please follow me there on Instagram and X and whatever else. So, anyways, we'll be right back. All right, folks, we are back with America Matters. I'm your host, Leo Zacky, with Eddie Floyd and Grand Baron Mingus there, making it happen for us. Welcome back to America Matters. Well, we were just talking about a few things, and I know Deanne Tate wrote in asking, wasn't no tax on tips and overtime in the bill just passed? I don't think so. There was a bill that was introduced back in January before Trump took office by Representative Vern Buchanan from Florida. And all it says is that it was introduced, but it does not say that it has passed the House. So that's HR 482. But I don't know if there's maybe something else has happened. I don't know. But that's what I found. I looked it up real quick.
All right, I got another topic for you, Leo, that I'd like your take on.
Sure.
And that's, I'd like to refer to this one as Shadows Behind the Curtain, a group that's quietly shaped the American political landscape while pretending to be just another grassroots movement, indivisible.
Oh, yeah. Well, beneath the surface is a carefully coordinated mission driven by elite donors and progressive ideologues and billionaires with global ambitions. We know about that, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
So I got a video here. Let me pull this up real quick.
All right.
Did I not pull the right one up? Give me a second here. Oh, I'm pulling it up. There it is. Oh, I guess it's that one. All right. I'm going to play this clip for you guys in just a second. Sorry, I thought I had the wrong one loaded up, but I have the right one loaded up. So
there you go.
Anyways, yeah, let me share this video for you guys. All right, you got it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's watch.
The legacy media still tries to maintain the ridiculous pretense that dangerous, potentially deadly acts of anarcho-terrorism are a legitimate form of protest. Their main gripe with Elon Musk is that he's overseeing the Department of Government Efficiency. Oh no, he's saving Americans money that would otherwise be spent on completely inane crap, like gender equality cartoons in China and drag queen shows in Ecuador.
Musk is unprecedented times of mass criminality.
Mass criminality being cutting funding for research on transgender monkeys in Florida and not spending taxpayer dollars on putting cats on treadmills in Russia. Turns out much of the anarcho-terrorism is being organised by an activist group called Indivisible, funded by the George Soros Foundation. Yeah, hope it was worth it for the 20-year prison sentences some of you were about to get. The legacy.
Good video, Leo. Wow. Wow. That's right. All right.
All right, folks, we're back with America Matters. I'm Leo Zacky with Eddie Floyd. And while we were just talking about the globalists and how they are usurping our freedoms through funding all sorts of nefarious entities like Indivisible. But that's just one of many. And, well, there's plenty more out there, but keep an eye out. And they're all stealing money from us. But, Eddie, let's move on to the next topic.
Ran through our bottom of the hour break. I was so excited because this one really hits home. It says over the past year, Americans have faced unprecedented increases in egg prices, with some regions witnessing costs exceeding $8 per dozen. Shari paid $11.99, Leo, for a dozen eggs.
Yeah, eggs are definitely expensive here in California and certainly in Los Angeles. The surge has largely been attributed to the devastating avian influenza outbreak, which led to the culling of 166 million laying hens since 2022.
Wow.
And as someone who's been in the poultry industry and been on the board of the California Poultry Federation, where this was it's still a topic that we talk about all the time at every board meeting. It's out of control. So the reality is that you don't need to kill all the birds. That's what culling is. It's where you wipe them all out. That's the nice way of saying it, where you don't get to use them for meat. This is done on purpose. This is something that the USDA directs the farmers to do when they find a positive test. There's no way that they allow us to do treatment. It's literally quarantine, isolate, test, eliminate. More testing, sanitizing, more testing, then repopulating. And it's a very long and very expensive process.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, they don't even allow us to treat the birds. And even if you did process one that had avian influenza and it was to be consumed, as long as it was cooked properly, you'll be fine.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's about creating a food shortage. But that's a whole nother subject. So the good news is that prices are coming down because we're not killing the birds because Trump is in office. So I got a clip for you guys I'd like to share.
Please.
And so let me pull that one up real quick, and we can discuss that. So there you go. Got that there and ready. We're going to play that clip in 3, 2, 1.
To give us an update on that ag program that you mentioned on the egg prices. How's that going?
Yeah, they're down $2.50 a dozen. And I went to the grocery store, as I do every Saturday, because I'm the one who likes to shop with my family because I get to see all the prices. And the egg prices in D.C. were actually down quite a bit more than $2.50
a dozen. How do you know that's directly correlated with what the Trump administration is doing?
Because if you look at the data on the culling of chickens, it's basically stopped starting on January 20th. There's a chart we can show you on that. But it's astonishing how many chickens were killed in the last 2 months of the Biden administration, and by having a more prudent, as Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has done, a more prudent policy about how to manage the disease, then we got lower egg prices and healthier chickens because they're not being culled in millions. Again, remember, it was more than 100-something million chickens were culled, and they spent $2 billion killing the chickens, and if you look at what's happened to the culling since President Trump took office, it's gone almost to zero. Well, thank you guys very much.
I'm sorry. Of eggs versus what consumers are actually paying. We've seen wholesale prices go down, but it's not always reflected in the grocery store.
The latest egg prices, go to the grocery store. I literally just went to the grocery store and bought the same eggs I always bought, and they were way down.
The whole country,
no, but it's $2.50 a dozen for the whole country. So. Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I love how the friggin' legacy media is just trying to like poke holes in his statement, but that's because they're bullshitters and they spread lies. So yeah, isn't that crazy? It's amazing what happens when you stop killing the animals unnecessarily, like needlessly. So the Biden administration approach left many feeling the pinch at the grocery store with little hope for immediate relief. And recognizing the urgency of the situation, President Trump and the Agricultural Secretary, Brooke Rollins, have unveiled a comprehensive $1 billion strategy to combat avian influenza and reduce egg prices. So this plan includes investing $500 million into biosecurity measures to prevent future outbreaks, which is what Zacky Farms and we did exponentially, like very, very well. Like we did that to the nines. In fact, in our 90-year history of operating, we had 0 plant shutdowns, 0, because biosecurity was so paramount with us. In fact, you couldn't go from the processing facility to a ranch or the hatchery within 48 hours. Just you couldn't do it. So biosecurity is absolutely the trick to making sure you don't have avian influenza. It's not that hard. The problem is companies overlook this crap because, well, they're being stretched and pushed and pulled in every direction because of labor costs and other nonsensical regulation that they have to abide by, and they have margins that they have to make. And the problem is they're competing on an international market, so it's tough to compete with countries that don't have to abide by the same nonsense. I digress. So continuing on with the plan here, they want to allocate $400 million for financial relief to support to the affected farmers and expedite the repopulation of the flocks, which is great because a lot of farmers have been getting shortchanged on that. I know about this because I know farmers that have been shortchanged on that, which puts them in a situation where they might not be able to stay in business. So then committing $100 million to vaccine research and exploring innovative solutions to protect the poultry industry. So this is all really good stuff. And this is stuff that is, well, way long overdue. But that's again, this is what happens when you get a reactionary government versus a proactive government. Now you see efforts of being proactive showing up now, but it is just so far down the line. This AI nonsense, avian influenza, has been an issue that we have been discussing now for over 10 years. And the fact that it has taken us 10 years to get to this point is a friggin' insult. Okay? It is an absolute insult and a slap in the face to every American and everybody in the poultry industry, myself included. So the administration is also reevaluating the mass culling policies that have decimated our nation's chicken population. Yeah, about flipping time. And by scrutinizing these practices and considering alternative strategies, President Trump aims to safeguard both the poultry industry and consumers from detrimental effects of such drastic measures, which they are completely unnecessary and overdone. I mean, the process is really crazy how they go for it. I mean, they literally isolate the ranch. You can't take anything off of there. Even if there's houses that show negative tests that don't have any positives, you can't bring them off until you then cull the houses that are infected, and it's a process. And you can't. And the other part too is that in winter it becomes even more challenging because in places like Minnesota, if you have an outbreak in Minnesota in the winter and the temperatures are below freezing, it is really, really challenging because what they do is they spray this like crazy ass foam in there, and it's like, well, it's super poison and it kills everything in there. All the birds, they hit them with this foam, and that's what kills them. But when it's below freezing, that causes a whole nother issue. And there's a lot of eggs and poultry that comes from Minnesota and places in the north where it can get cold like that. So that's why things like this also take extra time. So this is a nice little bit because we're going to get some immediate relief through imports. So understanding the immediate needs of American families, the Trump administration nearly doubled egg imports from countries like Brazil. Oh, like I mentioned, where 25% of our friggin' poultry comes from because they don't have the bullcrap red tape that we do here. So this move has already resulted in wholesale prices in New York dropping over 50% from $8.53 to $4.08 per dozen. While consumers may not see these reductions reflected in the grocery stores immediately, the initiative demonstrates the administration's commitment to providing swift relief. So I understand what they're doing by bringing in these products from overseas. Now, my only concern is that because there is now an increased demand here in the United States from other countries, you know what the other countries are going to do? They're going to increase their production. And then when it comes time to say we're switching back to American products, then we're going to have an issue because they'll have increased their production so much that they'll be able to have even lower prices than they're currently offering now. And that's going to make it very difficult for our American farmers to have a competitive space, which is where the tariffs come in. And it'll be interesting to see how the tariff hammer comes down on countries like Brazil that come in to help us in a time of economic need per request of Donald Trump to then get, backhanded with the tariff. This is going to be an interesting one. So Yeah, it's kind of a trucked situation either way you slice it, but you can thank the reactionary moves of a non-proactive government over the last forever for leading to this kind of crap. Yes, I'm being very, very critical of this because this is something that is very personal to me, having been in the industry my whole life. So when I hear about this kind of stuff and I have to talk about this stuff, um, it's easy to just to say these things and just be like, well, that's what it is. And I can actually break it down and give you the context on how this is going to impact us because I've lived it. So, in addition to these measures, Secretary Rollins has encouraged Americans to consider backyard chicken farming as a means to combat high egg prices and promote self sufficiency. Now, as a poultry farmer, I would advocate strongly against this for two reasons. One is the biosecurity concept, because if you guys at home aren't following biosecurity, which I guarantee you're not, you can have issues where you can have avian influenza outbreaks. And when that does occur, it causes this whole reaction in a multi-mile radius. It's like 5+ miles. So if you happen to live near a poultry farm and you're growing your own backyard birds, then it causes a quarantine status in that area. So it affects the poultry farms that aren't even impacted by it. And then those companies have to pay for testing. So if you live near a poultry farm, don't do that, please. It also causes a lot of issues in backup at our statewide laboratories that have to then take the time to then go to your house and get that sample, and you guys don't do a good job of monitoring. So it causes a lot of issues. It's nice. It's a nice thing to have and all that. I get that, but that's a big issue. So those are the reasons I would say I would advise probably not doing that. Well, hold on, Eddie. Oh, no, we got to take our last break here on America Matters. So, yeah, it certainly does. But like I said, folks, I know this stuff, and when you start talking about poultry, I'm going to tell you everything. So we got to take our last break. I'm Leo Zacky with Eddie Floyd. We'll be right back.
Now back to the show.
All right, folks, we are back with America Matters. I'm Leo Zacky with Eddie Floyd. And, well, we were just talking about poultry stuff, and, well, I kind of went off on that one because I had to, because it strikes a personal chord with me.
Sure it does, Leo, and you spent your adult life learning what you know today. Now, this last one I couldn't wait to get to as well because a recent poll reported that nearly 50% of California voters are open to electing a Republican governor, signaling a potential shift in political attitudes within the traditionally Democratic state.
Like I've been saying, the winds of change are here. It is time, and the time to strike is now. And from the state, and well, I don't know, might have a little bit of common sense, and even better, some solutions that can walk everybody to the promised land of getting out of this nightmare and this destruction that has been left for us rotting and festering for the last 30 plus years. So it really comes down to voter frustration. I mean,
Right.
people are just completely dissatisfied with how the state is handling key issues. We're in a perpetual state of drought. We have a crazy homeless crisis. Our wildfires are out of control. Our crime is through the roof. Our education is in the toilet. We're giving money to illegal immigrants and not helping our own citizens. Our roads are completely messed up and broken. Nothing works. Our taxes are through the roof. And what do we get for it?
That's right.
What, we get great weather? Well, I can't go to the beach. I can't go to the beach right now here in Los Angeles because it's all full of toxic sludge.
Right.
Courtesy of our wonderful reactive leaders with their woke environmentalism. I can't. My friends can't afford to buy a home because it's too damn expensive because of overregulation, and they don't want to send their kids to school here. And I don't blame them. So they pack up and they leave for like Idaho or Nevada or Texas or Tennessee. And so my quality of life goes down. People can't afford to have toys and vacations, so their quality of life sucks here too because it's so damn expensive. So there's a lot of issues that we're facing here in California, and they're pissed off, and rightfully so.
Yep.
But getting back to the top concerns, homelessness is certainly number one, followed by housing costs and public safety. So I mentioned all those. And discontent is making some typically Democrat voters more open to alternatives. What a
Yep.
concept, right? So the general findings in all this are that 46% registered voters say they are open to electing a Republican governor in 2026. How about that? So
Wow.
so you're saying there's a chance? Yes, there is. And 31% said they're not open to it at all, and 23% are unsure. So we've got a lot of people that are on the fence, but could be swayed. So
You are that common sense candidate, Leo.
I appreciate that, Eddie.
You
Well,
know, two researchers in California recently withdrew their manuscript after a U.S. government health publication allegedly asked them to remove terms like sexual orientation, gender, and cisgender.
yes, I did hear about that, but I was still talking about the voters here in California.
Please do, because that's more important to us here at America Matters than anything, you becoming the next governor of California.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment, Eddie. So among those that are open to a GOP governor, well, shocker, and the Republicans are with 87%, which I don't know why there would be 13% that aren't. Maybe that's because they don't know that I'm running for governor yet, and that's a shame. 55% are no party preference or independents that are open for for having a Republican governor, and 21% are Democrats. Literally 1/5 of the Democrats are like, we're done with this crap. We want change.
Wow.
This is really good. And considering Democrats make up, I think it's like 10.6 million registered voters in the state, you're talking about 2.1 and change million voters. And when you swing them to one side, that's really you double that number. It's 4.2 million vote shift. That is enormous. here in California. And that's the kind of stuff that will put a Republican over the top.
Right.
So we are going to be working very, very much on that. So there's a lot of regional differences in California. And I can explain those, like the IE, and it's the Inland Empire, and the Central Valley showed the highest support. No surprise there. It's where you can find them a lot of the densest population of Republicans in California. However, the woke libtard, areas on the coast like LA and the Bay are more resistant, though there are clearly signs of erosion for Democratic leadership. And the demographic insights are as follows. 43% of Latino voters are open to a Republican governor because we have a thing called family values. And, well, that's what Latinos are very known for, family values. 51% of white voters are open to a Republican governor.
Wow.
Good, because you got a lot of these woke leftist white libtards that, are standing there like fists in the air, black power, all that crap, BLM, this and that, nonsensical, doing it for the feel goods and I'm not the racisms, those idiots. And then young voters under 30 are less likely to support a Republican, but it's growing. And this has a lot to do with the upcoming generation not buying the bull crap from the mainstream. So they are really, every year we're getting more and more Republicans because the youth can smell the bull crap and they've lived through the nonsense and they don't like being lied to. So,
and they've been lied to by major media all the time, Leo.
Absolutely. So that's
wow.
So here, let's move on. So you were mentioning, Eddie, that these two researchers in California withdrew their manuscript.
Yeah, we're talking about restoring clarity in public health policy.
Yeah.
They're
talking about getting rid of gender and cisgender, these
right
ass backwards made up words. So President Trump's executive orders and federal agencies were directed to avoid promoting what the administration saw as "quote unquote" gender ideology, a term covering concepts and language tied to activist frameworks rather than biological or behavioral science. Like, what a concept, right? So this executive order has led to significant policy shifts across federal agencies, and we're starting to see it and feel it, which is really great. The Department of Health and Human Services is revising its programs to align with the new definitions that sex-based rights and protections are enforced according to biological distinctions, real biology, how like there's men and women and nothing else. The Department of Education is adjusting its policies, which is, fine, but hopefully they're not going to be around much longer, so it won't matter anyways. So this will help with, things as sports and, facility usage in educational institutions. No more, I'm a girl, I'm going in here, or there's a litter box there. That's a good start. Then HUD is updating its regulations to ensure that there are single sex facilities. So no more of this, whatever gender bathroom. Like, I hate seeing those friggin' signs where it's like half man, half chick dress, symbol.
Right.
Gender, nonsensical crap. So, that's where people get raped, and that's not cool.
That's right.
People don't feel safe. It's those got to go. So it's nice to see this happening. Wouldn't you say?
Well, Leo, I definitely would say, and I'll tell you what, Sarah was right. You are not just a gubernatorial candidate. You are, my friend, going to be the next governor of the state of California. I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
I appreciate that, Eddie. Well, it's up to everybody out there to help me get across the line, because I'm doing what I can over here. I'm spending tens of thousands of my own dollars every month to stay in this fight, to make this happen. And I need your help, folks. That's the reality. If you want to see change here in this country, it's going to start here in California. And we have an opportunity, as I mentioned in the previous segment where I talked about the voter demographics and how they're shifting. If you want to actually achieve that common sense and that proactive government and these results that will bring common sense, not just to California, but across the nation, then I need your help. please consider going to leozacky.com and clicking on the donate button and helping me out. Any amount will help. I don't care if it's $1 or $1,000, or if you can max out at 39,200, something like that.
Right.
Anything, anything in between. I really, really would appreciate that. Word of mouth is another great thing you could do. Tell your friends, share my stuff, retweet my stuff, repost my stuff, share it, whatever you got to do. I really need the help, because we are fighting this mainstream globalist propaganda machine and all these globalist agendas and all the pretenders out there and the opportunists that are just seeking fame and power that have no real plans. Well, they don't have plans other than putting themselves in a position of authority so that they can feel good about themselves and march around with a crown and a staff. We have an opportunity now to bring common sense in with solutions. I'm here to do that for everybody in California and bring California back into the shining beacon on the hill that it should be, where we lead by example and things can just grow exponentially from there. So I'd love to do that, and I do need your help. So
you're going to get it, and you're going to do it.
Yeah, I hate having to ask for help like that, but unfortunately, if we're going to do this, we got to come together as one team and get everybody on the same team, and that's Team California and Team America. So,
Amen.
With that, we are unfortunately out of time here on America Matters. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. It means a lot, and we'll see all of you tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day. Have fun and be safe out there. We'll see you soon.
Leo, thanks for another great show.